Welcome to the FlexiPro demo for Oracle SCM Cloud. Today we're going to go through kind of an end-to-end demo of a day in the life of an item through the warehouse. We're going to start out with the warehouse and production supervisor taking a look at some AI dashboards around the operations and the performance of the system. And then we're going to go and look at some inbound transactions of receiving, inspection, and put away. And then inventory management, we'll do on-hand inventory and a cycle count. And then maintenance, we'll have an actual production system down, and we'll do a parts issue and order completion to get that system back up and running. And then the manufacturing line will be able to continue and be able to do a material issue and completion. And then we'll pick and ship those items out the door on an outbound process. So beginning today, the warehouse supervisor comes in and takes a look using FlexiPro's AI dashboard to see inbound orders, warehouse performance, equipment status, and even outbound shipping and production commitments. These are all driven by an AI copilot that really allows for reducing manual effort and helps guiding decision-making. This really ensures peak operational performance of the warehouse and the shop floor and makes efficient resource and material adjustments. As some examples of dashboards that he would see is that you could see things like the 10 slowest moving items. Maybe you want to move those to the back side of the warehouse, or the 10 fastest moving items. And maybe we put those so where there's the least amount of steps in order to get to those items because they're the fastest moving. We could take a look at performance of the system and how transactions are running. Maybe we've got some failures going on some specific transactions that we need to take a look at. Or being able to look at orders as they're going out the door and how much work that we have to do today to be able to reposition users to be able to get those orders started early. So in our scenario, we have an inbound operation that occurs. And so Bill receives items that have come in on the loading dock. And he uses his mobile device. And this really helps begin tracking the KPI of dock to stock. One of the nice things about the system is automated processes like barcode label printing can occur, and we can immediately put those barcodes on items so that we can get operational efficiencies and reduce material handling as things go through the system. Now, our other user, Sheila, actually looks at her device and notices that there's a inspection and a quality inspection that's required on this device. So that helps her to capture that information at the point of activity and do that quality inspection. Now, once she's done that quality inspection and approved that, she's also able to put that item into inventory, and that really completes the dock to stock cycle and allows for real-time communication right into Oracle SCM Cloud so that we know that that item is available. Now, Sam actually is right there and actually does a lookup and sees that that item is actually immediately transferred into that location, and that provides immediate access to that critical information so that items can be available for manufacturing, for picking, what have you, in real-time capability. Sam's also going to do a blind cycle count while he's here. The great thing about cycle counting is that it increases inventory accuracy, which helps reduce safety stock. It helps also potentially eliminate physical inventories when our cycle counts are accurate enough. So in the process of PO receiving, we actually support multiple different forms of PO receiving, a 1, a 2, and a 3-step receipt process. One of the items on our PO today actually is a single-step process. And so we respect the receipt routing that occurs in Oracle and how it's set up in Oracle. So in the case of that item, we would just do a single receipt and deliver, and a label print would occur. But the one we're actually going to show today is a 3-step process, because there's an inspection that's in that PO receipt routing. And so the receipt will occur in the system, a label will be generated, and then our other user will actually see that they need to inspect because there's a quality plan and on that item, and then they'll deliver and put that item away for immediate availability into storage. We're going to shift gears into the actual demo, and what you're seeing on the right-hand side of the screen is our FlexiPro mobile device and the dashboard that the user is presented with. And then on the right side of the screen, you're actually seeing Oracle SCM Cloud. On the mobile device, you'll see that we have a whole range of applications that are available to the end user. And these are all standard applications that we've developed over time to support Oracle SCM. Now, a typical user might only see one or two of these operations because that's what their job performance needs. A manager might see all the operations. So in this case, we have all those operations available to us. And so we're going to start with our inbound process, and we're going to start by doing our PO receipt and receiving that item off the dock. And so we can enter our PO number by scan, or we could use a list of values in order to actually see POs that are available and select that from that list. In this case, we're going to go ahead and scan it in because it's just more convenient and it actually makes for more accuracy. And you'll see that we've got a supplier and we're prompted for the item off that list. Again, list of values could show us the items that are on that purchase order. In this case, we've got a barcode for the item. So we're going to scan that item right away and enter the quantity that we see that we're receiving into the system. And once we and then one of the great things about the FlexiPro system is our ability to do attachments. And so you can see that we have the ability to attach everything from an image that could be taken of, say, a waybill or a packing slip, or we could upload an image, or we could actually upload a PDF document. So there's all different ways of getting attachments into the system and attached to the record within Oracle Cloud. So we'll go ahead and complete this receipt, and then we'll immediately see the status of this receipt reflected in Oracle. So you'll see that we have a transaction success and a receipt of 9019. We can do a lookup in Oracle right away on 9019. You'll see that we have a received status of that and see even the detail on that receipt. So we can see that item was received, the time, the date stamp of that, and the document number attached to that. Also, we had a label that gets printed immediately for that receipt. So in this case, here's the item that was received, and this label can be attached right to that item for further scanning and better operations through the entire inventory and manufacturing process. Also, Express Label allows us to have a WYSIWYG designer, and we can design those label formats as needed. So we're going to move on to this item actually needing an inspection. So our other user is actually going to inspect this item as it's come in because there's a quality plan associated with this item. So on the mobile device, we're prompted for that purchase order number. Again, we could do a lookup, but we can also just scan that in. We scan that item, and we get back our quality inspection plan. So we can enter our quality result. In this case, it's the thickness of it. So she can measure the thickness of that. In this case, it's a 10 millimeter thickness, which is within the tolerances of that. And so we're going to immediately get feedback from the system that that's an accepted quantity, and we can continue our put away or our receipt process to go on to put away. And again, this is immediately going into as a transaction successful immediately going into Oracle. So let's go ahead and do our put away. And she's going to put away. Again, she can scan that number. She's got it on her item label and scan the item. And the system's actually going to tell her where to put that item away because it's a standard location for that item. The sub inventory is prompted or is defaulted, and she enters the quantity and is able to put that away. And we can see transaction success. And if we update and do a refresh in Oracle, we can see all of the detail that occurred on that item. So the item was received, it was delivered to the quarantine area, inspected and accepted, and put away. So that item is now in our warehouse, available to do anything with that item, whether you need to pick or you need to issue that item and take it to manufacturing. That item is now available immediately. And we're going to see that actually show in Oracle here. We'll do a lookup of that item and do an on-hand inquiry of that item here in Oracle. And you'll see that that item is added to our on-hand quantity in stores. And so just like we can see it there, the end user can also, with their mobile device, do an on-hand inquiry and see that same item there in the location. And all the other locations that that item actually exists in as well. So this user also is going to be doing a cycle count. So they want to actually take a look at the inventory, and we're going to go back over to our slide for a second to take a look at the cycle count. So the cycle count we'll be performing is a scheduled cycle count that we have in Oracle, and you'll see the steps across the flow here. So everything in dark blue is the items and what happens, the operational steps that occur in Oracle. So the cycle count set up in Oracle, the cycle counts performed in Flexi. We review those counts, and we either can send it back for a recount back to Flexi, or we can approve and post the adjustments. So here's the cycle count that we're going to be performing here for you. And we enter our cycle count, or we can do a lookup of that cycle count with a list of values. Again, those cycle counts also can be done by more than one user. So maybe you've got a large cycle count that you're performing, and you need certain users to count certain aisles, or you want to route that user through the most efficient path. That all can be handled within FlexiPro. So the user is going to scan their sub inventory and validate that sub inventory. Then they're going to scan the item and validate that that's the item that they're counting. And since this is actually a blind count, he's going to go and do the count of the item and enter, and sees that there's actually 10 items there. And if there were multiple counts to do, he could just continue to do those, or he could submit where he's at in that count at any point in time. So that wraps up our inbound and our inventory management demo. We showed you everything from receiving items to inspecting and putting those away, to seeing the on-hand inquiry of those items and the count, and then doing a cycle count of those items. So we're going to shift gears and go into a maintenance process. And, kind of the story today is that Mike, one of our maintenance technicians, is told, hey, our production line is down, so we're unable to actually produce our products that we need to make. And pretty simple thing to fix, but they noticed that that there needed to be an oil change done on their generator that generates power for this line. And so Mike selects that maintenance work order, and that provides some critical equipment information, and it does it right there at the point of activity so that he doesn't have to do lookups and goes back into the ERP system. He's able to do that right there with his mobile device. Pretty simple operation that Mike will be doing. But he has with him the items that he needs to do this, and he's going to issue those items to be able to track the cost of those, and be able to track the usage of those items right there at the point of activity, capturing the true cost of this operation. And then he'll also be able to charge his time and complete that work order, and that'll really help track the system for the true downtime of that and the outage of that system. So just to kind of show you the process that we would go through, again, in Oracle, you would enter and assign the maintenance work order within Oracle. But then there's a number of steps that occur on the mobile device. So the user selects the work order. They see that there's operational steps of that work order. There might be, and in this case, there's 3 operational steps. So that include some of those operational steps include issuing materials. Some of them also include capturing labor. And we can cycle through those operational steps until they're done, and then we can complete that work order. So you'll still see in this case, we're going to fill some oil, we're going to replace the oil plug, and then we're going to clean and test. And we'll go ahead and do that process within Oracle and within FlexiPro. Again, Oracle being on the left-hand side of the screen and FlexiPro being on the right-hand side of the screen, we're going to take a look in Oracle. Here is the work order that has been released to the warehouse, or I'm sorry, to the maintenance team and the for the shop floor. And this shows the operational steps of this activity. So you'll see that the fill oil, replace oil plugs, and clean and test are operational steps. And then there's items associated with each of those steps, and there's also labor associated with some of these as well. So we'll process through what Mike would see on his mobile device out on the shop floor as he's doing this maintenance work over in FlexiPro. So he's going to select the dispatch list and enter his resource information so they know who's done this work. And again, could use a list of values, but he's going to just enter in his work order number. He already knows it. And so he can take a look at the operational sequence and, again, get a reminder, hey, what are the steps of this process? Okay, I'm going to fill the oil, I'm going to replace the oil plug, and I'm going to clean and test that. So he's going to select his first operational step. And he's got his item that he's going to issue to the material. So he sees his piece of equipment. He knows he's got a step here. He's got an item to issue, and he actually tags that with the operational step. And so he's going to enter in or scan in the item number that he's using. And this was already staged for him. So sitting there in the staging location, and he captures that and captures the quantity of usage. And so we know we've got some additional steps to do. So let's go ahead and do that second step of replacing the oil plug in the second operational step. Again, immediately reflecting within Oracle these steps. And so we're going to do our next operational step. And now we're going to replace our oil plug. And we'll capture that operational sequence of the second operational sequence. And we'll issue our material. And the quantity of that material, we know it's the location that it's in, and we can scan that, and then we'll enter our quantity. and we'll finish that operation. Again, reflecting immediately into Oracle, so that you can know at any point in time where processes are. And now you'll see that those steps have been completed. And as part of this, we also captured we'll also capture the labor associated with that operational step. So we'll do our final third operational sequence. And the system knows how much time is associated with this. So we just hit done. And again, transaction success. And we're able to refresh this work order and see that we have a completed test. So our maintenance steps have been completed, and we're able to now reopen our manufacturing process for production. All right, so now that the maintenance team has been able to get our production line back up and running, we're now building materials in our shop floor again, and building finished goods in our shop floor. And we're able to actually also issue materials and complete those items right there at the point of activity. So in this case, Joe will be using his mobile device and will be able to issue the items and the parts necessary to kit the items. And that's tracking the exact material issue and cost, and putting real-time information into the system as he captures it at the point of activity. And then Lila will finish those. She's down at the end of the line doing the finished assembly of the kit, and again providing immediate feedback that the system has new finished goods in the system, and so downstream processes like quality and inventory management can be informed immediately for availability. So today we'll be performing work order number 2915, and that has been entered into the Oracle system. And so again, we'll assign that and create that in Oracle. It's pretty simple manufacturing process of kitting an item together and a part together, and then packaging. And all of those processes can be done with simple operations on the mobile devices. So they'll be able to select those items as they come down and issue those materials as the operational steps occur, and then ultimately be able to complete those work orders and get those finished goods and capture and backflush things like items and labor at the end of the work order. So again, as we've been seeing, Oracle is on the left-hand side of the screen. We have our manufacturing work order number 2915 in the system to finish our finished good item. We have two steps in that process to do that, with the items that are part of the assembly, and then the labor that is captured. So over in FlexiPro, the users would select the manufacturing application. The first application is a material issue. So if there's materials to issue, we'll be able to issue those to the work order at the proper operational step. And it's defaulted in our operational sequence. We've got the item that's part of that being defaulted in. And so we can hit that component and enter the quantity, and we can save. And again, we're reflecting immediate transaction success and immediate into the ERP. And now we can also issue our additional parts. And so now we've completed those item issues, and you'll see that they're immediately reflected into the work order in Oracle. And now we'll do the work order completion. So again, we have this as a split step in the process, and we're able to complete the finished good and the quantity for that finished good. And so our completion quantity will be entered, and we'll be done. And again, with success, we'll see immediate reflection into Oracle. and the labor and parts were flushed back through the system. Now we've got a new completed finished good. Well, that item's now been manufactured. Well, we also have some outbound processes to do in our warehouse today. So we're going to be doing some picking and shipping of items on the outbound side of things. So earlier in the day, Sheila was doing some inbound work. Now she's going to be doing some outbound work. And so she's instructed to pick some items for an open sales order. And this really does begin to capture our pick to ship KPIs, where we can see picking performance and we can see productivity of the end users and compare productivity from user to user. And then George will take those items that are picked and they're actually going to be ready to ship complete out to the warehouse. As he does that, a shipping label is auto-generated, and it really allows for immediate billing and a completion of that pick to ship process, so we can know how efficient our operations are. And again, the process within Oracle is that there's a sales order, items are reserved, and then they're pick released. And then within FlexiPro, the end user is able to pick items, stage. If you have a packing process, you can add that packing process to it. In this case, we're going to go ahead immediately to a ship confirm. So we've got our sales order and a shipment ID already in the system, and we're going to be able to ship items and pick and ship items associated to that sales order. Or we'll actually look in Oracle for the sales order, so that we can track where we're at related to the sales order. Maybe the customer calls in and said, "Hey, where's my order at?" And we can look and see where the status of that order is in real time. And so as we can see, hey, this order hasn't been picked yet. It's released to the warehouse, but it hasn't been picked yet. Well, hey, Sheila, go get that order picked, please, for us. So Sheila will use her mobile app. We'll select the picking app, and again, can get a list of values, or she can also, maybe we called her up and said, "Hey, go pick order 2954. We need that one to get out the door." So she'll see the move order associated and the shipment associated with that item or that order. So we'll do a query against that, getting real-time feedback from Oracle Cloud SCM. We're told what item to pick and where to go pick it. So again, this would, and if there were multiple items on this order, this would guide Sheila through the warehouse in the most efficient walking path to get those items. If there were multiple items, she could pick next, but in this case, it's a single item on the order. So she's going to go ahead and click done because she's done picking this order. And transaction success, we can actually see over in Oracle the update that the item that has been picked, and then the end user after that will look at the item that's been picked and update that order, sales order. So it's now staged, and now it's ready to go to ship confirm. And we have the shipment ID. We enter the weight. There's a waybill number associated with this. We can select with a list of values the shipping method. And again, if there's any attachments that need to be put in place, maybe there's a hazmat attachment that needs to be put in or to be captured, or there's some other attachment that needs to be done. Those can be done at that point in time. We're going to go ahead and complete this shipment, and we've been able to ship it out the door. So let's go ahead again and update our sales order, so that our sales rep can call the customer and see that the item has been indeed shipped. And so now he can validate that it has been interfaced, and that is the status for our shipment. Well, thank you for your time today in taking our item from inbound to inventory management to maintenance to manufacturing and then shipping those items out the door.